Welcome to the Discount Opinions podcast. My name is Mark. My co-host name is Stan, and today we are doing our top 20 animes of all time. How you doing today?
I'm doing, homie. I'm doing.
All right, so let's jump right into it. Go. What's your number 20?
Oh, I'm going first.
You're going first.
That's crazy. All right, that's cool. It's cool. All right, number 20.
Number 20.
Now, just to let you understand, you know, the viewers don't. This list is all perfect animes to me.
Mm-hmm.
But number 20 is Air Gear.
Ooh.
It's a very good anime about skating, competition of skating, I guess, skate racing, skate battling, whatever you want to call it. Came out forever ago. And it ended, I think the company went bankrupt or something like that, and they just didn't make a season 2. But the first season is like super high action packed, very comedy like anime. I love it to death. But that's my number 20.
I feel you. I've got a couple on my list like that, where we never got the actual ending for the show. And I'd forgotten that I even watched that anime. Like, you know, I've made the list of every anime I've ever seen. Forgot that one completely. All right, so my number 20 would be The World's Finest Assassin Gets Reincarnated in Another World.
Dude, I forgot about that one. That's a good one.
Yeah. So the title says exactly what the show's about. Greatest assassin in this world died, got reincarnated into another world where he became an assassin once again. And for recent anime, it's absolute banger. Absolute banger. And there's not a lot of recent animes to make my list. But that is one that has come out in the last 5 years. That just it just hit with me completely. So number 19?
Number 19 is Jormungand, if I'm saying that right. Jormungand.
You are saying it right.
I love this anime. Like, it's 19 for reasons, but it's a perfect anime. It's 19 because there are just other animes that I wish it was more.
Yes.
And that's gonna be like a common thing with a lot of things on this list, but I wish it was more. That's like the only negative I have, that is not more of it, because we had the conversation of, when it comes to me personally, I am completely over the idea of the high school teen who's just for some reason in their prime, and they're better than everything else. Like, it just doesn't make, like, that idea is just done with me. It's not bad, but it's every anime does it. For some reason, the 13, 14-year-old, the teen, is just everything. But that's my 19. That one, it's a more gritty anime, more adult rated. It's like, it's not like out of pocket. It's just mature rated content. Good mature rated content.
It's kind of funny that you would bring up the whole middle school, high schoolers being the greatest thing since sliced bread, when also mentioning that show, being that it follows like a 12-year-old who becomes a great fighter.
What, Jormungand? I mean, he was a child soldier, which is like that's like a real life thing, you know? Like, he's not even like the centerpiece of the show. He just happens to be a victim in it. Everyone else in the show was more or less, they do all the heavy lifting. It's not like, you know, most animes where the lead character is bodying people who are like in their 20s and 30s. Like, could you imagine like a 20-year-old coming up to you in any aspect and knowing more? That's very, very rare. I guess, you know, the idea, it's just so overplayed. It's like very little anime is mature rated. It's all teens, and I'm kind of like burnt out of that.
Oh no, I feel you completely. It was just amusing to me that you brought that up when mentioning that anime in particular, just because of that. It almost made my list. It almost made my list. Is actually an honorable mention in my list because it almost made it, but there are some others here that just had to take its place. So my number 19 is that oldie but a goodie, Berserk.
Put Berserk down.
Berserk
there.
is at
That's fine.
19. Yeah.
That's crazy. It's a great anime.
It is.
Great anime.
It is. It's absolutely. But here's the thing. Like, every anime on this list is top tier. For me. For me personally. Now, if we were just doing overall best animes of all time, not personal, it might be higher on the list. It might. It might be higher. I'm not actually sure about that. But for those of you that don't know about Berserk, go watch it, you scrub. What is wrong with you?
Greatest anime of all time. One of the greatest animes of all time. It's
There are
very top
things. The only reason why it is so low is because. So I've seen every iteration, the movie versions, the original horribly animated OG, as well as the HD version of that where they just redid the cells and it looked so much better. Like, that was actually watchable. And then the new one, I've seen every iteration of Berserk, and there are things about it that irk me a little bit, but not enough that it could deny its greatness.
Respectable opinions.
So, number 18.
Slime.
Ah,
That time I got reincarnated as a slime.
respectable
It is.
positioning.
It's so low. Not because it's bad. Not because it's bad, because it's a very great anime. There's just animes that I like. If I went on a rewatch spree, I would watch the other animes way faster than I watch this one. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I hear you. There are a couple of anime that should be lower on my list, I would say. But their rewatchability is insane. Like, I've watched both of them 5, 6, I mean, in one of their cases about 20 times.
There's a lot of anime on here. I've watched like 20 times.
Yeah. So my 18 would be Black Clover.
Word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why Black Clover? I mean,
Why
I got it.
Black
It's
Clover?
all these. That's like, I got why it's that low. No, I got why it's on the list, but that low, yeah, it's not even on my list. To be honest with you.
That was
Telling
it, so it's on there because Black Clover holds a special place in my heart. It was my constant for years. You were there. Every single week we had our new Black Clover episode for like 3.5 years, and it was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And that is a part of the reason why it is on the list. It gives me the warm and fuzzies all over.
That is, yeah, for like 80 something, maybe even first 100 episodes of Black Clover. It was every week. Didn't
No,
miss a beat.
it was more than that. It was all the way up till like partway through season 4. Because they started season 4 and then COVID happened. And COVID was the only thing to stop Black Clover. But also, legitimately good anime. Really good. I know a lot of people hate on it. But it's a good anime. It was a very good anime. I mean, it's basically the same anime as My Hero Academia. basically. But magic instead of superheroes. And that's absolutely okay with me.
All right, so number 17, right?
Yep.
Akudama Drive.
Ah.
This would be higher, but this falls under the category of I'm scared for its season 2 if it gets one. And there's only one season realistically. Like, it's a bomb ass anime. Like, the bomb. This is probably one of the greatest animes I've seen in a long time. But however, with the recent flow of how season 2 is coming out, I'm really, really scared for its season 2.
You're not wrong.
Not because I've read anything, not because I've seen anything. It's just because there's other animes that I just didn't like their season 2, and that killed them. The allure for them, and it's this low because I'm worried of its season 2. Because if they don't hit like the season 1 did, it probably will drop off this list.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a couple of anime that would have made my top 20 if it wasn't for absolutely abysmal season 2s. Rising of the Shield Hero would definitely have been on this list, probably around 17, if season 2 was an absolute trash. Absolute trash. I get almost unwatchable. Like, I was just annoyed the entire time we were watching that season. It's just bad. It's just bad. Same thing for Arifureta. Arifureta might be on this list if that second season wasn't bad. In fact, picking which of those second seasons were worse is difficult. Definitely difficult.
Yeah,
okay.
No, Shield Hero's second season was better. All right, what's your 17?
You said Shield Hero's second season was better? Oh,
Within
then
Arifureta?
Arifureta. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah. I would agree on that. I would agree on that.
Like, if I was forced to pick a second season between the two, I'd be like, all right, I'll rewatch. Season 2 is Shield Hero. I'll go ahead and put it on.
Yeah, over Arifureta's, because Arifureta's season 2 was 70% fan service. Like, the first 3 episodes were nothing but fan service.
I don't even remember. I literally mentally checked out. I'm being honest with you. Like, when it was just
the entire first episode of the season was the harem sitting in the car arguing over which one loved him more. And I'm like, what brain dead moron actually enjoys this? Like, what incel living in the basement actually enjoys this content? It makes no sense to me. Absolute garbage. So, number 17, My Hero Academia.
Ooh.
Yes. Made it just above Black Clover. They actually kind of flopped back and forth a couple of times, trying to decide which one I liked more. Because, as I mentioned with Black Clover, I mean, they're basically the same anime. Right? The premise is the same, except one's superheroes, one's magic. And they both, similarly timed in the series, had what were, for me, super lows. Black Clover had the 8 episodes of filler training, which
so did My Hero Academia, bro.
No, that's what I'm saying.
A good half a season for this is how they got strong. This is how we explained their whatchamacallit, which they could have just wasted on a sentence.
I mean, yeah, they could have done a training montage if it's going to be that useless. Like, you can make training the best part of an anime. Like, the training saga can be fantastically done. Both of them were lazy and it was boring. It was so boring. Nothing happened. You could skip the whole thing and put a card that went, and they trained, and then went back to it. Which is the only negative, really, on both. End of season 4 for My Hero Academia for me was a little weak. But also, I was watching it during a time when I was really tired, and I didn't care. I didn't care about the villains. Like, I really didn't. I didn't care that Shigaraki had a terrible childhood and his father was abusive and so on and so forth. I don't care. Doesn't particularly matter. And it outside of that, they would both actually be higher on the list. Like, they made it on the list despite those things. Number 16.
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell almost made my list as well.
Ghost in the Shell is I've watched this anime a million times. The only reason why it's not higher up on the tier list is because the other ones are just better. It falls in a category of, I like the mature aspect of anime. I like, the silliness is always fun. You know what I'm saying? And shows, comedies, and all that. But I like when an anime can just be serious for a moment, even if it wanted to take the kid trope and then like that. It's just the silliness and the over like use of fan service is like annoying to me and outdated. But this anime is old. It just gave a more serious look on everything, which is like, okay, cool. Sucks you in with other things than, big boobs and sexy ladies, even though the main character is a big-breasted female. But it's more than just her. It's the allure of the mystery that what it is, which, mystery animes are always the bomb to me. Detective animes are always pretty good.
Yeah. One anime that almost made my list that's kind of like that is 91 Days. It was real hard not to put it on this list. Which, have you ever seen it?
No.
Oh, great anime. Really good anime. Honestly, it's story-wise, it should definitely be on the list. But there's just so many heavy hitters that it just kept getting knocked down until it just didn't make it anymore. But it's about a kid whose family was killed by the mob back in like the 20s, and he escaped when they came and wiped out his whole family, and he disappeared for, I think it was like 6 years, and then he came back to get revenge, and it's a revenge story. It's fantastic. Originally, it was actually at my 16, but 16 would be Juni Taisen. Absolute banger of a fighting anime / tournament anime. I've watched it similarly to you watching Ghost in the Shell. I think I've seen it like 5 times at this point. I've gone back and watched specific fights a few times. The rat is still one of the best characters in all of anime.
That's just Juni Taisen?
Yeah.
I have not only seen it the one time we watched it.
This is the only time you've seen it?
Yep. When we watched it. Now we're going back to watch it.
I just rewatched it about 2 months ago with the wife. All right, number 15.
15, Goblin Slayer.
Ooh.
Definitely a great anime.
Definitely a great anime.
Would be higher, but I am afraid going forward that they are going to mess it up. Like, that's just the only reason why it's not higher is because it's overall a great anime. The movie was great. The season was great. Everything about it was wonderful. But how the trend of season 2s have been going, and it's just not. I'm just worried about its potential to just fan service it up with with like their the few characters they have in the show for fan service, and then them doing something completely dumb that's just not gonna like have anything to do with the story. Like in this anime, you don't need to do anything except making it an amazing adventure of him trying to go kill more goblins. Don't send him on a quest that has nothing to do with goblins. Don't send him on an adventure that has anything to do with saving a bunch of people saved by a dragon, because it's very D&D like anything. You know what I'm saying? The whole show is like a D&D. Which most animes are. They're like a D&D like aspect of it. So it's just like, I don't want to see him fighting anything outside of a goblin, unless like he's in the middle of a goblin slaying quest, and then boom, something shows up that has a reason to be there, and he has to defend himself. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them to mess it up by making him do something that's out of complete character. The show's called Goblin Slayer. Can he do other things? Yes, but that's not why we watching the show. Making it a luring aspect.
That's not what he does.
Yes, he doesn't. It's already shown he doesn't care about anything other than killing goblins. Keep it that way. Please keep it that way.
Absolutely amazing show. And I actually, for both the ones that you've mentioned that are low because you're worried about season 2s, I am not worried about them whatsoever. Both of them seem to be written by competent people.
Yeah, we talked about Shield Hero. Yeah, see, I'm not trying to be a stick in the mud, buddy, but bro, we couldn't wait for.
You have a valid point there. You have a very valid point.
And that's just my worry. Like, it was the first season of Shield Hero was perfect. The first season of Arifureta, I think because of the time we watched it, we thought it was perfect, and a lot of the things that we didn't like about season 2, we kind of just glazed over.
Yeah, we weren't so offended by massive amounts of fan service.
Like it was, it was okay. It was just like, now it's just like, it's too much. So we weren't really, we thought it out. And then like we put it out of our minds. We weren't really too deep in thought about it. But like now I just don't, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. Like, maybe I need to go back and rewatch season 2 because I've given up on Arifureta, realistically. Maybe season 3 will draw me back in.
No interest.
Maybe I could go back and rewatch Shield Hero and then try to give it some focus, and then maybe I'll see an aspect. And I got what they were doing, but I feel like it was just what could have been 6 episodes at the most was 24.
Yeah, the whole Otherworld arc should have been a 3-episode arc.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like what should have been, like, as messed up as this to say, if you watch Shield Hero, going back on that one and then looking how the other 3 heroes was like, that's not our problem. That's what he should have said.
Right?
And then kept it pushing. But that's whatever. Anyway, off me, on to yours.
You good, cuz I think we could do an entire podcast exclusively about how bad the season 2s of Arifureta and Shield Hero were. Like, I'm fairly sure it's probably going to come up again.
It will.
So my number 15 is Gantz.
Ooh. I struggled not putting this on the list.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you.
I struggle not putting this on the list.
And also, just to be clear for everyone, when we mention, like, Gantz has 2 seasons and a movie, all of it is considered when putting it on the list. Such as if we mention Dragon Ball, that's Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, the whole thing. The whole thing. Same thing goes for Gantz. Even though Gantz Zero was that 3D anime style and not as good as the show, it was still fantastic. I actually saw Gantz Zero before I saw Gantz because I had a friend over who ended up staying for like 3 days, And I walked out one night at like 2 a.m. and they were in the living room watching Gotten Zero. And I was like, oh, that looks weird. And I sat down and I watched it with them. Actually, I watched it not in English the first time because they were a sub purist. Hate those people. But anyways, yeah, it was good enough that I then turned around and watched it in English and then found the show and watched that. Back then I was a little baby anime viewer with only like 3 under my belt. So number 14.
14. This hurt me to put it this low on this thing. But the other ones are just a little bit more deeper than this. Samurai Champloo. This anime has some of the greatest soundtrack of like some of the greatest music I've ever heard in my entire life is from this show. It is overall great story, funny, hilarious. I can't say it's serious. It's just more mature-ish anime. I love it to death, but it's number 14.
Yeah, great anime. Absolutely great anime. Did not make it into consideration though. I think it was on my short list originally, but my short list was like 50 anime long. All right, so my number 14 is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Bit higher than yours.
Makes sense.
But it hit. When that anime dropped. It just hit. And even it's so good that like I can breeze right through the fan service side of it. Because the rest of the story is just so dang good. It's just like the anime we started, then you quit, and I continued watching. The Hidden Dungeon Only I Can Enter. Lot of fan service. Lot of weird fan service. However, I just skipped that part of it, and the story was great. So number 13.
13, Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw
Man is, I like the nitty gritty of it, bro. It's just me now. They make more animes like this, I can fuck with it completely. I love the nitty gritty of it.
It was heavily considered, but it didn't come close. Great anime though. Great anime. Grittiness. It's got good story. I love how
fucking wild it is.
It is
the show
wild.
Is amazing.
Decent character development. Honestly, great all-arounder.
What's yours?
My 13 is One Punch Man.
One Punch. Yeah. Didn't make my list.
Yeah. It was actually one of the last ones that I picked for the list. I had some steep competition. For being 13, like it was actually like it made me rearrange part of my list. Because this is heavily weighed in any of it. It's just how good every episode is. Every episode of that show is impeccable. Every single time it's going to be a good time. And it walks that line of comedy while serious things are going on in the world perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. Number 12.
Number 12, Fire Force.
Fire
Force is amazing, bro. Like, oh, mate, I love the soundtrack. I might go back and rewatch it. I love the sound, bro. Whoever did the sound, the audio for this, bro, A1. The story is amazing too. I like most of the characters. But overall, it's a great anime. I love it 100%. I can't wait for more of it. I hope they don't F it up like they doing, but it already has 2 seasons out, so hopefully it doesn't fall in like the next one.
Yeah, I struggled heavily on Fire Force. The first season was very akin to the first season of Demon Slayer, where they just it seemed like they just could not get to the meat and potatoes of the show, and it lost me a bit. Definitely lost me a bit. Now, since then, I've gone back and watched it and finished season 1, but I didn't watch season 2. Or wasn't there also a movie? Or was it just season 2?
I'm not sure. If there was a movie, then I need to go check and then watch.
It may have just been an OVA, or neither. All right, so my number 12. Apparently, this section of the list is just comedies. Now that I'm looking at it, Space Battleship Tiramisu. One of the weirdest and funniest animes ever made. I'm still in awe that I've gone back and watched this anime like 5 times. But it's so funny. And also you can binge like an entire season in like 30 minutes. Because it's like a 5-minute anime. Number 11.
Number 11 would be Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is amazing. I don't understand how you don't like it, but I get it. It's
the training part of it was so
it's
boring.
crazy. That's about the only bit of training that you see him go through. That's not true. He goes through another bit, I think, late in the season, the last few episodes of the first season, but it's more like a recovery thing because of the battle that he the main bad guy he ends up beating at the end of the season, and he's like, oh god, I gotta recover, which is a continuous trend. If you watch this show, it's like they have a way of every battle he gets into, he is clearly outmatching. He comes out on top because of reasons they have not said yet in the show. But it's really good. The art style is amazing. The story is superb. The only thing I don't like about it is the only thing I don't like about the show is the fans of the show. Like, I really, really hate fans of most animes. They just out of pocket.
Yeah, I feel you there.
I don't understand why they're so out of pocket. Like,
I feel you there. I mean, the reason why I haven't gone back, because I watched till he met what I assume is the bad guy of the main season, the like vampire demon
Michael
guy.
Jackson.
Yeah, till he met Michael Jackson. Yeah, that's where I stopped watching the show, and admittedly, got way better. I haven't gone back and watched it because that was like back in 2020 now. I haven't gone back and watched it because the wife and I are planning on watching it together, and whenever we get around to it, I will finish watching the show, or I will get as far as we get together. So my number 11 is the greatest anime of all time. Maybe, probably not. But my personal first anime, Golden Boy.
Man, put Golden Boy on the list.
Bruh, I had to. It's the OG. It was my first anime. It's so good. I've watched that anime so many times. It's such an outstanding comedy.
Perverted as fuck, but yes. I agree.
Yes, but it is only held down by how perverted the main character is, and also there's only 6 episodes, which makes me sad.
Unfortunately,
it makes me very sad. Should be way better. Sorry, not better. Should be way more. All right, first 10 down. Number 10.
Yu Yu Hakusho.
Ah.
It's one of the greatest animes of all time.
Yeah.
I've
feel you there.
rewatched every episode because there's no filler. No filler. Like, as soon as they end the arc, they immediately begin the next one. Like, none. There's no stupid beach episode. There's no stupid what do you call them? Hot spring thing. None of that. Just greatness. Just greatness from start to finish, and I love every minute of it. I have rewatched it a million times. It has, out of all the tournament animes that feature a tournament, its tournament is the best. There has not been an anime that has topped them when they done a tournament arc of the big bad guys at the end of the tournament, and we gotta fight through the tournament and get them. There's none. None is better, personally, in my opinion.
I hear you. It was seriously considered. Definitely seriously considered. I feel like I watched it at the wrong time in my anime journey for it to have the impact that it should have. Great anime, though. Definitely great anime. My number 10, Black Lagoon. Absolute travesty that there's not more of that show.
The manga's still going, right?
Yeah, which is why it's a travesty that the anime isn't. It's Fayetteville, North Carolina, the show. It's fantastic.
That's crazy. It's about right.
About right. All right, number 9.
Number 9, Overlord.
Oh!
Overlord is my number 9.
Slight spoilers, greatest anime of all time.
Slight spoilers. We're gonna be saying a lot of this is the greatest anime. It's a great anime. There's no negatives. It's my number 9.
I mean, picking out 20 out of for the ones that I could remember, which I remembered like 8 more today. I had 190 written down last night. So picking 20 out of 190 is difficult. My number 9,
What's your number 9?
Gungrave.
Oh, makes sense.
Yep. Fantastic, start to finish, limited run anime. Absolutely. In fact, one of the best storylines out of any anime ever. If you haven't seen Gungrave, you have got to watch it. Cannot recommend. Well, that's not true. I can recommend higher animes, but amazing. Absolutely amazing. Starts out weird. Honestly, the whole Gungrave part of the anime is my least liked part. The like episodes like 3 through like 22 is the best section. When he's doing the overpowered superhuman sections, not the best part of the anime. But the story in it, the bromance, the mob story, it's all fantastic. Just absolutely fantastic. Number 8.
Number 8. Hold on, let me get my things back out. Number 8 would be Baki. Everything Baki. Everything Baki for me. I love
feel
the
you.
show. It's pure madness. Pure madness. Guttural beating the shit out of each other. It's real. I just like it. The fighting is awesome.
I will say one of my favorite moments in anime was watching a little kid beat a bear. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Definitely didn't make my list, but Great scene. Great scene.
It was a monkey.
Was it a monkey, not a
It was
bear?
monkey. It was Yasha ape.
That's right. That's right. That's right. It was an ape, not a bear. But big hairy things. Speaking
Did
of
that,
big hairy things,
13-year-olds couldn't beat.
I could have taken out an ape when I was 13.
Word.
Totally. All right, my number 8 would be Goblin Slayer.
Ooh.
Yep.
Much higher on the list than mine.
Much higher. I did not take in the worry of season 2 into my consideration. I'm not going to judge it until it gets here. But yeah, Goblin Slayer, we already talked about it. Great anime. Number 7.
Number 7. Hunter x Hunter.
Oh.
Yes. Perfect
Oh.
anime.
Perfect anime. Absolutely.
That's it. That's all I gotta say about perfect. It's perfect. There's nothing else to say about it.
I'll have more to say later.
Oh, word.
Number 7.
Shit, number 7.
It's your turn.
Oh, that was my number 7.
Oh, yeah, that was your number 7. My number 7 is Akudama Drive.
Ah!
Bro, when that anime dropped, it blew my mind. Didn't expect it, didn't know anything about it. We just jumped right in because the poster looked great. Blew my mind balls. Such good anime. Such a good
Like
anime.
the only thing we could compare it to is like, man, this is what Cyberpunk should have been.
Yes, it's what Cyberpunk should have been. And it would have been great. Number 6.
Number 6 is Jujutsu Kaisen.
Ah.
It would have been higher, but the number 5 is 1 through 5 is all-time greats to me. This
Gotcha.
anime is probably, of all the new animes that are currently coming out, I do not think there is one better. To me, the only one that could come close is Chainsaw Man. The only one that could come close. But Jujutsu Kaisen is probably, but the movie was fire. The first season was fire. Season 2 has just started. I can't wait for it to end so I can binge it. So I hope it's good. I hope they didn't do what the other ones did. But out of all the other ones, I do love the hell out of the new age of anime that is coming out, and this is a part of that because this one it just never made sense to me as someone who love OG anime fans. Why are you watching the big bad guy fight the hero when y'all got like 7 people? Jump this mother lover. Like, are you kidding me? Like, they never do that, but in this show, they jump everything. They do not care about, it's about honor, integrity, and he's just trying to gauge how strong he is. Nah, son, everyone gets jumped, and I love it to death.
I definitely feel you, and I figured it was going to be on your list and pretty high up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not on my list because I haven't finished it. It is open currently in one of my browsers to watch, though. All right, my number 6 is Gangsta, which is an absolute travesty. Absolute travesty that it didn't get farther.
I was watching a reel or something, a short, whatever, of a guy who was like, he had 3 animes that he wants to get a season 2, and that was definitely one.
Oh yeah, yeah, bruh. Season 1 is perfection, absolute perfection of storytelling, just masterfully done. Every character in it is supreme. Great fights. The world that it built, all the way around. 10 out of 10. Its only negative is that it never ended. And also ended.
Yeah, right.
Like that cliffhanger at the end of the show. Nothing has infuriated me more than that cliffhanger. Until they mess up season 2 of Goblin Slayer. Now I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah. I was so mad. And I've been waiting for season 2. And it's probably never going to happen realistically. It was another situation of the animation studio going out of business, and someone bought the rights and they didn't immediately use them, and the rights got traded to somebody else, and it's just doing that whole thing that unfortunately kills a lot of great shows. So we're getting to the top tier. Your number 5.
Trigun.
What a coincidence. My number 5 is also Trigun.
Bro, I don't know what they're doing with this new. I know what they're doing with the new one.
Yes.
But it will never be as good.
Never be as good. Never even come close. Trigun is it's Trigun. It's one of the godfathers of anime.
I have seen Trigun a million times and will continue to watch it a million times because
Yep.
it's one of the greatest animes. Soundtrack is perfect. I love the soundtrack. I love how they build it, how they established it, run it. The only problem with Trigun is the problem with a lot of those older animes is just gave up on it instead of they finished it in the first with one season, which I don't feel like. I'd be scared to be like a season 2 would probably ruin it, but I don't think if season 2 would have ruined this one. He could have done a lot more.
I mean, they could have just done more. Like near the end of the show, it was kind of rushed. It felt rushed, at least. Maybe that's just the desire in me to have more of it. But it felt like they rushed the end. Like it could have gone on for a decent minute, I feel. But maybe they were just following the manga. I don't know. I've never read the manga.
If it's like, yeah, me neither. I don't, it's about anime, not about
We don't read, people. Unless it's the Bible, I don't read.
That's not true. The only manga I get deep into is Dragon Ball Z. It's about the only one I give a damn about. Other than that, I could care less. That's because I'm too impatient for the new season of Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah, there were actually a few issues that I almost picked up the other day. Wife and I were on a date and we went by Books A Million, and yeah, they have a whole manga section, and there were a few issues I wanted to pick up. Almost picked up the first 2 Overlord novels, Goblin Slayer, and I think it was the first Black Clover I almost picked up. I had them in my hand, then we were walking out and I saw something for my kid, and I was like, you know what? I'll go ahead and get that for her. Sacrifice for my progeny.
Word.
All right, number 4.
Dragon Ball.
Oh,
Beginning to end of Dragon Ball, to me, is mwah.
I know.
We can argue it to the T.
Yeah, I mean,
all
you
the
know me.
imperfections that is in Dragon Ball, but it is everything to me.
You know me.
The
I hate
greatest.
Dragon Ball.
Man, that's you.
I know.
Life as a sinner. Go ahead,
It's
man. Who am I to judge?
It's actually crazy to me that it's that low on your list. I figured it was gonna be number 1. I thought it was gonna be number 1. Previously, I know it was your number 1, so now I'm intrigued.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 is World Trigger. Probably the biggest upset in the list.
Is it?
I mean, I don't know a lot of people that would probably put World Trigger that high, but that anime is fantastic. From pacing to fights to story, character, 10 out of 10, all the way across the board. At least for season 1. I haven't seen season 2 or 3 yet. I actually just found out they got dubbed the other day, and so we'll be watching it. But as a family, we started back watching World Trigger again about a month ago, and it's so good. So good. And the fact that I can watch it with my kid makes it even better. There's zero fan service. It's just straight meat and potatoes the whole time. Well, outside of the one arc of filler that was never dubbed, so it doesn't count for me. It might as well not exist because it's not dubbed. So number 3.
Number three is Berserk. Berserk is the best. The best. As far as someone who's Berserk is probably the biggest reason why I got out of the whole teen thing. Like, I was like, once I dipped in my toe into loving Berserk, it was just like, dude, I'm tired of the whole childlike aspect of anime, because Berserk was just something great.
Aliens invade the world. We need our greatest resource. High schoolers.
I love it. Not like, someone in their mid-20s who's been working out for this exact same thing that the teenagers are doing. Not like the human brain isn't fully functioning at 25. Like, I don't understand why they are obsessed with teenagers, and it's a little weird to me.
I assume it's because teenagers are the core audience of anime.
I mean, that is definitely the reason. Definitely the reason, without a doubt. But even some of the greatest animes, well, I mean, that's not true. I can't say that. Because Yu Yu Hakusho, if you ask a million people who watch Yu Yu Hakusho, they're like, Yu Yu Hakusho is one of the greatest. He's a teenager. Like, when the show ends, when he, he turns 18. At the end of the show, he's 18 years old. Sailor Moon, teenager. Like Naruto, I think most of Naruto until Naruto's son, the show, he's a teenager. So yeah, that's probably the best as most people who watch are teenagers. But then there's a lot of shows that have adults that are great. Trigun is one of them. Dragon Ball Z is another one where the main character is an adult. Great audience.
I mean, most of the list: Gangsta, Akudama Drive, Goblin Slayer, Gungrave, Black Lagoon, even Golden Boy, One Punch Man.
Which Golden Boy, when it comes to the level of fan service that is, it's a lot more comfortable because the women are grown women. They're not little girls, which is like, when in the aspect of it, like, no one in nowadays, the numbers have shown. Everyone who started watching anime, who really got into it, like when we were in high school, are now adults. And now adults. You can make more, if you want to do fan service things, like, make them adult. Like, I don't want to see someone in a schoolgirl outfit and they're trying to give awkward angles. It just sucks me right out of the freaking show, because it's like, dude, come on, man. I mean, I got a daughter myself. I don't want to be looking at this.
Yeah.
But that's just me personally.
I feel you. And I mean, in defense of Golden Boy, which it just got added to the list of titles for my autobiography in defense of Golden Boy. It's fan service compared to any of the anime now is nothing. Like it's barely fan service. Like it's bruh. I mean, you watch the same things I do. It's wild now. Most of a season will just be fan service. Hence garbage. Anyways, so my number 3, Assassination Classroom. Yeah, my top 3 are set in stone and have been for a very long time. Assassination Classroom is an outstanding anime. Hilarious, serious, all at the same time. Suffers a little bit from the school thing, but I mean, that's the whole point of the show. Is that it takes place in a school, and the students have to assassinate the teacher. Great concept.
It's a great anime. Wonderful anime. So many people, like, if you as a person who never watched anime ever, and I had to recommend an anime to get you into it, that one would be a good one for you to watch.
Yes.
It's an all-around good anime. Great message. You're like, yo, just watch it.
Yeah.
Trust me, you'll love it.
Shoot, when I watched it with the wife, that final scene of the last episode, bro, she was bawling like a baby. Such a good anime. The journey you go on with these kids and the weird alien monster, which isn't an alien at all. Just, absolutely fantastic. So what is your number 2?
Number 2 is Cowboy Bebop.
Okay. I was wondering where it was going to end up.
Bro.
Oh, I know. But explain it for the people.
Awesome soundtrack.
Soundtrack.
There is no anime with a better soundtrack. The only one that comes close is Samurai Champloo. But there is just all around, like, one of those animes that's just loved by everyone and everything. Oh my god, I've probably watched it just as much as I watched Trigun. The soundtrack, I've heard the soundtrack a million times. Same with the movie. I've seen the movie a million times. The only thing about Trigun Cowboy Bebop, I did not watch fully live action show, which I don't know if I want to watch it. Every time
the Netflix show?
Yeah, the Netflix show. Every time it pops back on my Netflix feed, I'd be like, I should just finish it because of the fact that it is about one of the greatest shows I love. But no, I will not.
The only live action from anime to live action adaptation that I've ever enjoyed was Death Note. Not the Netflix version. That is utter garbage, and everyone involved should be strung up. Show is horrible. But way before that, the Japanese did a live action Death Note. It was 4 movies. And I had a buddy back in high school, Marvin, and his brother was stationed over in Japan, and he sent him the movies. And I watched them. I actually watched those movies before I watched Death Note itself, which Death Note almost made my list. Because it is one of, I think it was my second anime. Well, no. I didn't watch the Death Note anime for a very long time. I didn't watch it until 2016. But I watched the movies based off of the anime back in high school. And it was the second seed that was planted for anime. My number 2 is Hunter x Hunter.
Ooh.
So you know this, and I would make this argument if this was a list of the greatest animes of all time, not personal, just the greatest animes, Hunter x Hunter would probably be top of the list. Show is amazing. If someone's watched Hunter x Hunter, you can explain any anime that exists off of using terms from Hunter x Hunter. It's the epitome of anime. And perfectly executed in every single way. Just, I could gush for hours.
It was pretty. It's perfect.
Perfect. All right, so before we get to number ones, do you have any honorable mentions?
Want me to name them all, or you just want to?
I have 8. I have 8 honorable mentions, personally.
I have Mobile Suit Gundam. Mobile Suit Gundam's on my honorable mention. One Punch Man. He didn't make the list.
Word. Respect.
Gantz didn't make the list. Golden Boy didn't make the list. Honorable mentions because it's great. If this was extended to 30, they'd be on the list.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Desert Punk is one of the funniest animes that has a great story, but it didn't make the list. What's another one that didn't make the list? Saga of Tanya the Evil.
Yes.
Great anime.
Bro, I struggled so hard on not having it on the list. Like it was hard. I didn't even put it in my honorable mentions. But that anime is fantastic.
I want another season.
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, if I was to redo the list, it would probably knock World's Finest Assassin off and replace it with Saga of Tanya the Evil. That anime is peak. So my honorable mention, a couple of these are things that I couldn't technically put on the list with the criteria that was set forth.
I have
first.
one more, the honorable mention.
Oh, go ahead.
Claymore.
Claymore. Another one. That was another one I struggled with.
One.
In fact, parts of me like Claymore better than Berserk, because basically
It's
the same
understandable.
show.
That's understandable, and that's the reason why. Because I was like, if I put Claymore on this list, I have to put it next to Berserk as a / Claymore. The only reason why I don't like it didn't make the list is because Berserk is way longer, so I had a lot more time to love Berserk versus loving Claymore, because they're the exact same thing.
Is the exact same reason why I didn't make my list. That's literally the exact same thing. Great anime. The only negative parts of that anime are the little kid actor voice. It's garbage. I hate that voice actor. I don't know who he is or his name, but every time I hear it, I want to just rip my ears off and throw them away.
Which kid actor and what show?
The little kid that followed her around for the first half of the anime.
Oh, and Claymore. Okay,
yeah, Claymore.
I'll have to go back and listen to it, and then I'll know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, he was the same voice as in Fairy Tail for the main character.
Natsu, the dude who voiced Natsu, he was also freaking Natsu.
I think that's the same guy.
My Hero Academia. I doubt it.
It might not be, but bro. The guy that voiced the character in Fairy Tail at least reminded me of the guy's voice in Claymore, and I hate that voice.
He played
the whole reason why I couldn't get into Fairy Tail.
My Hero Academia. Which is fine.
So my honorable mentions, got a couple in here that only didn't make the list because they're not technically animated. So Hellsing Abridged was my first honorable mention, and was originally number 5 on my list. I love Hellsing Abridged so much. The only thing to top it is probably Dragon Ball Abridged, which is the only reason why I'm thankful that Dragon Ball exists, is because Dragon Ball Abridged exists, and we wouldn't have it without Dragon Ball. Boondocks, honorable mention, has to be. Can't make the list because it's not technically an anime.
Bro. Yeah.
But that's the only reason. Third one would be Naruto. Naruto, really good anime. Top tier. If this was a list of greatest animes of all time, it would probably be on there around number 7. because as far as anime goes, it has its throne already set up. Great anime. No Game, No Life. It went on the list and off the list several times. Great anime. Ultimately, it didn't make it because there's just not enough of it. There's just not enough of it. Jormungand was also on that. Then the next three are recent anime and didn't make the list partially because they are recent anime. Handyman, Saito, and Another World came close. The anime's dumb and amazing.
How many Madarakas was it close?
It was about 2 Madarakas away.
Damn.
2 Madarakas away.
2 Madarakas.
Changed my entire understanding of measurements. Next would be How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom.
I forgot about that one. Man,
Yeah.
that would have been on.
It jumped on and off the list a few times as a fantastic anime through and through. It took the entire concept of isekai and took it in a different direction, which just fantastically done. Fantastically done. Last one, Cautious Hero.
Another one I forgot about.
Yeah, when One Punch Man knocked Cautious Hero off the list. Because One Punch Man is a better comedy. Cautious Hero was so funny, though. Just so funny. And I mean, that comes down to it's hard to put completely different genres in same categories. Because half of this list could be comedy animes. Because there are so many fantastic parody and comedy animes. But then you get like a super serious anime like Juni Tyson next to it. Also a great anime for completely different reasons. So eventually we should do individual genres of anime.
Words. We should do that.
Yeah,
Dip our
same.
toe into that.
All right, so is that time number 1?
Bro, Black Lagoon.
Ah,
My favorite, like after many considerations and for reasons.
Like you was like, oh damn, Dragon Ball Z was gonna be his one. Dragon Ball Z is love. It's love. Like Berserk for its reasons, it's number 1. But Black Lagoon is everything. As you know, like I've been saying this whole thing. I have gotten tired of the whole high school bullcrap thing, and it's not bad. It fits. However, there's just oversaturation of it. There's so much of it.
yeah.
That there's no more anime as deep and as guttural as Black Lagoon. And I understand that there's probably people who listen to this will just read or just do the subversion. There's this anime, but if it's not in English, bro, it's like, I don't mind sub. I don't mind watching sub. I still do to this day. It's just that a lot of times that I have time to sit down and watch anime, I don't understand Japanese, which is, I guess, a fault. I could always just learn the language so I can, but I'm doing something else on my computer and listening to the anime. And then when it catches me, I usually turn my attention towards it. This is one of the greatest animes that are so serious that is in English that I can just put on. And I have rewatched every bit of this a lot of times. Not as much as Cowboy Bebop, not as much as Trigun. I've watched those a million times. But this one, I love every aspect of it. It's funny when it needs to be funny, but the raw, like a weird part of me wish I lived in this world on how free these MFs are in this show. Just because, like, Single Stan would have loved to live in Roy Emperor. Like 100% would have gotten down with those wild dogs. Like it would have been the dream to live in this crazy world that it is, and it probably exists somewhere in the world, and we just don't know it because we live in the greatest country on the planet. But it's just like every bit of the show is just great. The only thing that sucks about it is there's no more, which is whack, because they could have went on endless missions. Like the story to it was more or less the descent into the world that was Rock. That's what you see. That's what you're witnessing. But they could have gave another narrative. Him going further deep into it, him getting his own understanding, of him not growing up in a world like that, but being thrusted into it, and what he could do with it with many seasons to come. Him breathing some sort of humanity into Rebby, giving her like some humanity. There's no other word. It's like, cause she was the bitch is a beast. And every other thing, just I wanted to know more about the Russians. I wanted to see what the Russians was gonna do. Benalaika. I wanted to see more of that. There was just so many avenues that they could have just went in this world, because season 2 is more or less of the core group and more of the people who live on that island, which is fine to me. It's one of the few animes that I could get down with that did that just shied away from the main cast, and it did more with the supporting cast, because it was all the same type of content. It wasn't just nonsense filler. I mean, you count that as filler, but it was like not nonsense as far as like, oh, this is a beach episode, or oh, this is a hot spring episode, or this is an episode of a will they won't they. And it's just like, it's too much of that. And 100%, and a lot of the great animes we put on this list, our list and your list, is a lot of that, a lot of the will they won't they. But when it comes to, and I can build my own list of animes that I love, that is just 100% no nonsense, mature rated animes, in the sense that even if they have children in it, like take Chainsaw Man for instance. Chainsaw Man, teenagers, but however, it's not bullcrap. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a little bit more mature rated and straight to the point, and it's none of that childlike mentality when it comes to the show. It's all just straight. This is what it is. It's in your face, and it's about to get real. It's real, rated in for mature, and that's what I love, and that's why it hit above Berserk, which was hard, above Dragon Ball Z, which was even harder, and above Cowboy Bebop, which was even the top 4, 5. Was rough to manage, because Black Lagoon, out of all of it, Berserk could have took this spot, honestly, but Berserk is just wild. And if I could, it would literally be my 1 through 5 would all be 1s, and then it would hit 6, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I understand completely.
Like that's how I feel.
That's almost the way I feel about my top 3. They would all be number 1 if they could be.
Yeah, what's your number 1?
My number 1, you already know, it's Overlord.
Oh yeah.
Overlord was made for me. Like the guy that writes it, apparently he just did an interview with a past me on exactly what would be perfect for me and made Overlord. It is beginning to end. Every episode is peak. Not a moment of filler. Not a single low in the entire show. It is only up, and it doesn't stop the entire time. Doesn't matter what other anime is airing beside it, Overlord always gets saved for the end, because Overlord will not disappoint. Not a single episode has ever disappointed. Not to mention, some of the greatest moments in anime ever are in that show. For me. Just top tier. Top tier. There is nothing higher for me than Overlord. Kills the entire competition.
I feel you. It is one of the greats.
Absolutely. I was actually kind of shocked that it was so low on your list. Because what was it?
Because everything above it is
I understand.
understandable.
I understand. Like about a quarter of each of our lists are the same things, just in different order.
Yeah. It's.
Yeah.
I mean, we watch most of these together, so
True.
When it comes-
True.
When it comes to a lot of them, it was bound to interlock, and it's
Absolutely. And different things hit differently for different people.
'cause it's
100%.
definitely I've dipped my toe in a lot of animes that you haven't seen, and
True.
then stopped watching them because I'm waiting for them to get dubbed so we can watch them together.
Ah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of sub animes on Crunchyroll that I'm just
waiting to be dubbed, and I've watched like the first episode and be like, all right, bet. By the time it's dubbed, I will have forgotten the first episode and can go back and watch this with the homie.
Yeah. One of my biggest annoyances in the anime world right now is how many exclusives High Dive has. Because High Dive doesn't give a crap about dubbing. And it drives me crazy. Bro, I've got a list about the length of my arm of animes that I want to watch together, but they're not dubbed. And I just don't have the patience to sit down and watch sub, or the time. I mean, day is stacked from beginning to end. I don't have time to stare at a screen and do nothing else but read. I just don't. Not to mention the dyslexia makes it hella hard to just sit and read, and then half the time I miss what they said because I get a word out of order, and then I try and read it again, but now it's gone. Just can't do it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. Like a lot of people, there's an argument manga versus the sub versus the dub, and it's just like, bro, realistically, it's convenience.
Yeah, I mean,
Convenience.
enjoy whatever you enjoy.
And I don't have, and it's a big reason why I don't read the manga is because I don't necessarily have time and the things that I enjoy and the responsibilities I have to sit down and read, which is why I do audiobooks. So,
Same.
and the thing is with manga is, it's like you have to be looking at the pictures, and there's probably some novels out there that are audiobook versions of things that are just like, okay, cool, it's just chapter log of whatever, and that's cool. And if I find those, I'll find those. But most of the time, you have to be looking at the page when you're reading a manga. And when it comes to sub, you have to be looking at the screen, which is basically no different than just reading the manga. It's just you now have audio and moving pictures along with it instead of just looking at scenes and this scene, that scene, this scene, that scene, which I already explained earlier. I have no problem with watching subbed anime. I just do other things when I watch my anime. That's my thing. It's like, there's very few anime that pique my interest that I'm like, okay, cool, I can watch this. That is in English to where I can put it on and grind out content on whatever game I'm playing, or if I'm folding laundry, or dealing with my children. I can't sit and you blink in a sub and you miss a key moment. Like last night I was watching this anime that I found that I think we would love once it is dubbed, if it ever gets dubbed, because that is always an if when it comes to a lot of dubbed things. It's called Undead Murder Farce.
Oh, I haven't run across it.
It just dropped episode 1 in on Crunchyroll. I think a few days, sometime this week, or this recently. And the first episode was pretty dope, but I was grinding out some content for Diablo last night, getting ready for the seasonal content for Diablo, and I'm watching this, and I'm just like, I can't do both. because it was in sub. So I had to watch a bit, pause it, play the game a little bit, get a little bit further in what I was trying to do, pause, get to a safe spot, then unpause the thing, and I'm just like,
it was a little bit too much. But I liked it. I thought it was pretty decent. I think it would be a pretty decent watch if it gets a dub. And I'm gonna wait for whenever it gets a dub, which will probably be like 6 months down the line or something like that.
It's Crunchyroll, so possibly sooner. Crunchyroll generally is good at dubbing.
I hope. I mean, we gotta think.
I mean,
what,
not
12,
as good as
12
Funimation
weeks.
was,
That's
even though
4
they're the
months.
same company now.
Yeah, so it's 12 weeks. What is that? That's 4 months. 3 months. 3 months.
3 months.
3 months for all the episodes to come out in sub. Then you gotta add, probably another 2 weeks.
Well, a
after
lot of times they start dubbing like 2 weeks after the first episode drops. So hopefully it's one of those. Generally, like the rule of thumb for an anime, they're actively dubbing along with it. Outside of, like My Hero Academia, is simul-dubbed, where it drops the dubbed and the regular at the same time. Not for all of it. The later seasons aren't like that, but the first seasons were. Same thing for, wasn't Demon Slayer like that? Or was there a delay?
I don't know. I watched Demon Slayer sub. That's one that I normally, when Demon Slayer drops a new episode, the day is over and then I watch it in bed because I
Gotcha.
actually enjoy the story of that one.
Gotcha.
So I'm on my iPad. It's pulled up. I'm watching it.
Black Clover was another one that the dub dropped at the same time as the sub.
Yes.
For most of it. The last season, it did not. But everything was delayed by that point in time. All right. Well, I think we've got a pretty definitive top 20. Like, oh, I did have one more honorable mention that I thought of while we've been talking here, and that would be Vinland Saga.
Oh, dude, I totally forgot that one. It's
Yeah,
not bad. That's a good one, and that is a good honorable mention.
it was
Its second
definitely
season is
close
definitely
to making
different.
the list.
Its second season is polar opposite of its first season. Not bad. Just if you go into it second season thinking it's going to be anything like the first one, you will be pissed off.
You will be disappointed. Because it is. It's nothing like the first season. It's really good, though. The stories are
Very
good.
good.
Character
Very good.
development
I
on point.
enjoyed the second season. To a T. For Thorfinn, I thought that was a good way to give a good season to give him. It was still crazy. It's one of those mature things one of those mature animes that was like no bull crap, no extra fan servicey. It was raw gutter and a wonderful story. It doesn't have to all be blood murder because there's a few animes I don't remember their names that I watched that are just stories.
Yeah.
Just stories. Nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary. No one's dying, no one's killing. They're just good stories.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few like that. Let's see, what was the name of that anime? Never remember the name. I have it written down here somewhere. Speedgrapher. Speedgrapher. Really good story. Not a lot of action in it. Little slow, but phenomenal story. Phenomenal story.
It's a lot more anime as I'm sitting here thinking of more.
Restaurant to Another World. Another
Oh, I
good, like
see,
that's
yeah.
basically slice of life, but
it's
really good.
It's
It's
good.
really
It's just
good.
like, most like a lot of slice of lives are, super romantic, and that's fine. But it's romantic with high school students, and that just kind of mentally kills me.
Yeah. I'll tell you a crazy one that would have blown your mind. But if I would have thought about it earlier when I was working on the list, there's a possibility it may have made it. Love After World Domination, which is another just really good, funny
Yes,
story.
that's a very good. not even just funny. It's just all around good story, good watch. The one I was just thinking of is Darwin Game is very good.
Yes.
And the problem is it's not in English, so you're not gonna watch it. So, but I watched the hell out of Darwin. Like when it hooked me.
Yeah, it is. It's in English. I watched it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Darwin Game.
Yeah.
Pull it up, bro. I don't think that's in English, man.
Bro, I am
'Cause I
like
don't think we watched it.
100% sure it is.
But another one was High Rise Hotel. I just remember that existed.
That
is a great anime.
is
that
a really
anime
good
was- wow.
anime
That
that
anime
I
was
completely
wild.
forgot existed.
Yes, me too. Like I
Had to add it to
completely
my
forgot.
list.
High Rise Hotel was crazy.
Not my top 20, but I'm simultaneously
No,
working
it
on.
couldn't replace anything on my top 20, but it is really good.
But I'm simultaneously working on the list of every anime I've ever watched to save myself time and energy later. Why isn't it just showing up? I searched literally the name. Yeah, Darwin's Game. Yeah, it's dubbed.
I think it was dubbed on. Have you seen it? I think it was one of those anime you just couldn't find anywhere else, but it was on Netflix dubbed. It's dubbed on Netflix.
It yeah. It's fully dubbed, and I watched it sometime in the last 3 years. I don't remember exactly when. But yeah, it's another really good anime.
Word. All right.
Groovy.
Yeah, I knew it was dubbed only. Well, I watched it, but I like, bro, the amount of times that I've repeatedly seen the name of anime over the last 48 hours while making this list and the list of every anime I've ever seen. I went by it like 50 times. No sports anime made the list. 2 almost did, though. That, the sumo anime that I can't remember the name of almost made the list. And Haiku almost made the list. But you mentioned that you weren't doing any sports anime, so I decided not to as well. Yeah, I think that's about wraps it up. Everyone, you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.